Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it? We are back here for your weekend preview, the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel, back once again for the November meeting at Cheltenham. Myself and Jack once again recording at real odd hours. Jack in the bright early hours of the Hong Kong morning and me in the late hours of the South Coast darkness. Jack, first of all, I think this is the first time we've seen this background in one of the podcasts. It's absolutely sensational. Look at that.
I've just moved into the new apartment overlooking Happy Valley, so there's a lot of football going on and rugby and hockey in the middle as well, and can even look at the back straight. So yeah, I can just about see where I work from on a Wednesday evening from my living room. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but no, it is cracking. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm turning around. I'm just looking at my window and seeing if Goodwood Racecourse is out there, but no, it's not. So, unfortunately, I don't have the luxury of a view like that. But how are things out in Hong Kong? Are you enjoying the racing?
Yeah, absolutely loving it. We're getting one step closer to the international meeting on December the 10th. We got Trials Day this weekend. It's all systems go.
Absolutely, but you've got to try and switch your mind back now. You know, the National Hunt actually might not be as clued up as you previously were. I don't know how much you've been watching of that out there.
Yeah, I mean, trying to keep up with them as much as possible. Obviously, the time difference, you're usually kind of waking up and having a look at anything. I've been staying up for most decent races as well, but hey, Twitter's the best place on earth if you want to try and keep up with stuff, and luckily I think I've been just about keeping up with it.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can find some winners then. We've got, I think, 4 races to look at on the Friday. We're going to be looking at the one big race on Saturday, the Paddy Power Gold Cup, along with a couple of races on Sunday from Cheltenham. Kind of an anti-post look ahead to the weekend here. And we'll also provide you with our best bet of the weekend. And we start off on Friday with the 145, which is a 2-mile handicapped chase, a Class 2 event where Calico is the 7-2 favourite. Richmond Lake and Triple Trade are 5-1. No Risk de Flow is 11-2. Do Your Job is 6-1. Guy is 8-1. 9-1 about special rate. And Double Figures Bar. Go on then, Jack. Kick us off with a winner.
It's a tricky race, but I'd quite like Triple Trade, actually. He was second to Dancing on My Own last time out. Was staying on at the line. There was the JP McManus horse as well, absolutely flying home just behind him. But I thought that was a decent enough performance. Dancing on My Own, it was on good ground as well, which I think did suit. That's one thing, but I don't think any easing conditions will be too much of a problem. He's a very, very consistent 7-year-old. I mean, he's only up a pound for that. And I just thought that was a decent enough performance. I mean, that was after a break at Kempton over 2 miles and 2 furlongs. He absolutely hacked up as a well-fancied favourite there at 13-8, beating Light and Strike by 9.5 lengths. Look, it's not a strong selection. I think Calico's a pretty worthy favourite. A little bit of a question mark around a few of these who are coming back from break. So I quite like how Triple Trade has the fitness edge over a few of them, and hopefully Brendan Powell can steer him somewhere near the front three, hopefully come the line.
Yeah, ever so consistent as well, Triple Trade. And worth mentioning that the Tizard Yard are going so well at the moment. Joe Tizard going, I think at the time of recording, around 24% strike rate. So they're going ever so well. And I completely agree with Jack there. I think that, look, this horse's first run, although probably not match fit, you could say, look, this horse was outpaced around 4 out, but stayed on well and got back into the race. And I've got a feeling this horse will be really primed and won't mind this soft going that we could have at Cheltenham on Friday. And I think Triple Trade as well, it's been well backed already, but wouldn't surprise me if it actually went off a little bit shorter. So 5-1, not the worst price, but Triple Trade in the 145 at Cheltenham. Let's move on to the 220 then, which is an Arkle trial. It's the Super Alloys Arkle Challenge Trophy Trial Novices Chaser Grade 2 over the 2 miles. I don't think there's going to be an Arkle winner in here. I'll be shocked if there is an Arkle winner in here. JPR1 again for the Tizard Yards 2-1 favourite. Mighty Tom 5-2. On Public is 4-1 Long of Unexpected Party. 5-1 Petit Tonnerre. The King of Rye Hope is 5-1. Endless Escape is 12-1, and Walking Clover is 33-1. Now, I quite like JPR1. I was quite impressed by this horse on debut over fences. I thought this horse put up a really nice display, did it as easy as you like. I do think this horse is a worthy favourite, again, with the Tizard Yard in such good form. There's one horse in here, though, that is really fascinating at a big price, and that's Endless Escape for the Ben Clark Yard. Now, this horse here, again, ever so consistent, goes so well fresh. Actually had, I think, 4 wins on the bounce before heading to Cheltenham. for the Mares Novices Hurdle. Now, I think this horse has a lot to show over fences. I'm quite excited about this horse over fences, and for a trainer who probably doesn't have too many horses, I think this could be quite a big story on Friday. And I think 12-1 about Endless Escape. This horse, like I say, as consistent as ever, probably ran into too many good ones at the Cheltenham Festival in the Mares Novice, but this is definitely not a strong contest, and I could see this horse outrun its odds. 12-1 about Endless Escape is a big price for me. I do think JPR is the one to beat though. Jack, what about yourself?
Yeah, no, I see what you did there. JPR's the one to beat. Very clever, very clever. No, I thought JPR won. Yeah, he was. I wouldn't go as far to say he was impressive on the Chase debut, but he got the job done. I thought he looked relatively smart. But look, I don't think he's too much of a price at 2-1 now. On Public, likewise at 4-1. I think there's a couple actually. Unexpected Party is the top rated of the lot, rated 146. Beat Nappers Hill last time out, and the reason he's such a big price is because he's just a lot more exposed and not kind of aesthetically pleasing in terms of how much progress there is to come. But if we don't have an Arkle winner here, we're probably going to have some handicappers or perhaps Grade 2 horses kind of down the line, and I think Unexpected Party could probably be the bet here at 4-1. Beat Nappers Hill last time out. Nappers Hill then went and won very comfortably at Wincanton, which we saw last weekend. He's been behind the likes of That's Alright, Gino, Stage Star, John Bon even. So he has been competing at the highest level. This is definitely a massive step down for him. So I think it is going to be a lot more comfortable for him at this level. I mean, stepping back to the 2-mile trip, I don't think should be too much of a problem as well. He was quite prominent when he beat Nappers Hill last time out, and hopefully he can take a step forward against these unexposed types. But the other one that I think is fascinating is Petit Tonnerre. On Chase debut in Grade 2 companies, 5-1. I was certain he was going to run a good race in the Lanzarote on suitable ground, but he absolutely bombed out there, finished 5th over 2 miles and 3 furlongs at Ascot, and then ran a decent race in the county behind Favre. He recorded, I think, pretty much the exact same final furlong time as Favre. I think it was 100th of a second less than Favre, but he was staying on at the line there. But he's got such a high knee action. He's a big old galloper. It looks like he wants some really soft ground, so he'll be an interesting one for me on Chase debut. But I do actually think, other than JPR1 being the one to beat, I think Unexpected Party has more than a squeak at 4-1.
Okay, Unexpected Party, yeah, to the 2 miles there. Whether this horse, does hold an entry actually in the Paddy Power Gold Cup on Saturday. Whether they take that entry, that would be a hell of a risk, but you just never know. But yeah, Jack seems to think the drop back to 2 miles should be no problem for Unexpected Party, but keep your eyes on Petit Tonnerre. Let's have a quick look at the cross-country chase then. 2:55 there on the Friday. This is a handicap cross-country chase here, a Class 2 event where Delta Work and Galvin, they're at the top of the market. Delta Work 6-4 and Galvin 5-2. Back on the Lash is 6-1. Late Night Pass 7-1. 10-1 about Diesel Dallier and Foxy Jacks 12-1. Bar. Now, we were looking through this race, Jack, and finding out who won this race last year. We found out there wasn't actually a winner of this race last year, but you have got a horse who ended up winning the race at the January meeting in Back on the Lash. Now, this horse has won this race, you could say, for the last 2 years, but the last 2 runnings, I don't know how many actually horses have won a race, the same race in the same year. Whether there's anyone down in the comments can let us know of any horses that might have won a race in the same year due to rearrangements. But Back on the Lash seems to absolutely love this race. They seem to have this horse primed. I really like this horse, Jack, just due to the fact this horse puts all his best displays in right at the start of the season. You look at his form towards the back end of the season, pulled up. He just seems to have enough come the springtime, but the early part of the season, he looks a proper weapon. Sean Bowen absolutely flying as well at the moment. 6-1 against the likes of Delta Work and Galvin. They're top quality horses, but they're carrying a fair bit of weight.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, Back on the Lash is quite funny. It was the same last year when he had that pulled up effort in the cross country in March and then finished tailed off at Uttoxeter. I was thinking to myself, is he actually just regressing? And then he came back and obviously put in a decent effort at the November meeting last year, 3rd behind Does He Know, and then went and won in this meeting. Of course, this is a handicap, so as you say, Delta Work and Galvin have to burden 11 stone, 13 and 12 stone respectively. I do actually quite like one here at a price. Lieutenant Rocco's 20-1, and I'm trying to go head over heart here because I know I have I kind of, oh, well, I mean, I love Lieutenant Rocco. I mean, I think he would have won the Ultima back in 2020 if he didn't get injured. He looked like such a good novice chaser as well. And I just think he hinted last season like he is some kind of back. I mean, he had a wind up, and I know a lot's gone wrong for him, but he's down to a mark of 127. I was actually really impressed. I know he was beaten 36 lengths, but I was actually quite impressed with his first spin over the cross-country fences in March. He placed at a big price at 100 to 1. He actually won at Kempton in a handicap chase around 2.5 miles, beating Iconic Muddle at 18 to 1. It looked like he was hinting that he still does retain plenty of ability. And hey, he's carrying 9 stone 9. He gets 2 stone, over 2 stone from both Delta Work and Galvin. I think I don't know if this is definitely the plan with him, but if they are going to start him off over these cross-country fences in this race, I think he probably has a lot better of a chance than 20 to 1 suggests. So I think Lieutenant Rocco can hopefully keep showing his ability of old and can run into a place at 20 to 1.
A familiar name to the Next Gen Racing channel in Lieutenant Rocco at 20 to 1. But yeah, it's the 2 Gordon Elliott horses right at the top of the market. It was interesting actually what Gordon Elliott had to say about Conflated after the weekend. I was intrigued to know that he's going to try this horse again and probably in a Grade 1, and then he said that he schooled this horse over the cross-country fences, so Gordon Elliott might have a few really nice cross-country horses heading to March, Cheltenham in March, so we'll just have to wait and see. But Conflated is definitely one to keep an eye on from the Elliott stable, potentially in the cross-country division. Let's move on then to some novice hurdlers, shall we, in the 3:30 at Cheltenham, which is the Trust of Trader Novices Hurdle, Grade 2 event over 2 mile, 5 furlongs, and Captain Teague is your even money favourite. Space Tourist 6 to 1, Kimbara and the Big Doyen are 8 to 1, 10 to 1 about Impose Trois and Resplendent Grey, and 12 to 1 bar. I don't know what I'm saying here. It's so late at night.
You've done a good job. You've done a good job there.
Yeah, we'll just go with it. Captain Teague, he, for a lot of people this weekend, might be the banker of the whole meeting, Jack. He was very impressive at Cheps, there's no doubt about it. He could end up going down that typical Paul Nicholls strong novice hurdle route, could end up in the shallow come Christmas time, that kind of New Year time. I think he's a very smart horse. I think he'd be tough to beat, but I'd probably let him go and win at even money.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I don't think we need to spend too long on it. It was a decent performance last year. He finished third in the Champion Bumper. He looked pretty good in his point-to-points as well back in the day over 2.5 miles. And yeah, he was pretty impressive in the Persian War. So yeah, he's even money though. If you're going to take the risk to get even money with one of these novice hurdlers, fair play. Not really one for me. Was really looking for one at a price, but I think I actually struggled looking down the list, to be honest. You look at the likes of the Big Doyen, how much of an upside does he have this season? I'm not really too sure. It looks like Handicap Company is where he's going to be seen to best effect, and even Space Tourist for those different owner colours that we don't usually see. He beat Riviere de Tel last time out. I just think Captain Teague, he is. I know I just said, I suppose I'm being a little bit hypocritical because he is obviously the unexposed one in the field, but I think he has the biggest upside, and I'd be slightly surprised if he gets beaten.
Absolutely, yeah. I think Johnny Deneen summed up pretty well actually on Up in the Ante on Tuesday by saying if any of these were to beat Captain Teague, then there's just not a good novice hurdler in this race, and he's probably about right. If the Big Doyen were to beat Captain Teague, then you'd be a bit disappointed and wouldn't be kind of thinking Captain Teague's as top class as we were all hoping. So look, Captain Teague should go and win this. I'm going to let him go and run at even money, but I'm hoping that Paul Nicholls has a really nice novice hurdler there. Let's move across to Saturday. We're just going to cover the one race on Saturday here, which will be the 2:20 at Cheltenham. It is the highlight of the whole meeting. It's the Paddy Power Gold Cup Handicap Chase over 2.5 miles, a Class 1 handicap where Stage Star tops the market at 9 to 2. Il Rodotto, very well supported for the same stable at 7 to 1. The Real Whacker is also 7 to 1. Unexpected Party, mentioned earlier, this horse is 7 to 1. Not Long Till May, 15 to 2. Fugitive, 8 to 1. Angel's Breath, 12 to 1. And 16s bar these. Jack, I think the one interesting horse is obviously the top weight in the Real Whacker, potentially an actual Cheltenham Gold Cup horse for March. What do we make of this horse's chances, and what do we make of the race as a whole?
Yeah, it's a cracking race, isn't it? It looks an absolute screamer. I mean, where do you start with the Real Whacker? Look, he was so consistent last year. He jumps for fun, doesn't he? He's very uncomplicated. Sammy Twiston Davis gets him into a marvellous rhythm. He held off Jerry Colomb somehow last season in the Brown Advisory. He's got to burden 12 stone if you want to take him on. If you want to have him on side when he's carrying 12 stone, that's not really for me, especially knowing that his bigger targets are going to come towards the end of the year. Il Ridoto, like you said, I can understand the Il Ridoto angle. I know he's got a better swing with Fugitive than when he beat Fugitive in January last year. Stage Star for me is probably the class angle, having to carry 11 stone 7. But there's one for me at a price. I think Fugitive has a chance as well. There's so many in here you can make a case for, but it's actually Willie Mullins. Of course, it's Willie Mullins. What else would it be? And it's authorised art at 20-1. I'm not too sure if he is definitely going, but for me, I think he just loves going left-handed. Since he's hopped over a fence, I mean, every time he's gone left-handed, he's put in a pretty good performance, albeit not exactly like tracks exactly like Cheltenham, but he's contested in Grade 1 company. I mean, on his second chase start, he won at Tipperary, beating Ashtree Meadow, going left-handed, won at Killarney, going left-handed as well. And the likes of Punchestown didn't go too well, ran on the flat at Leopardstown, and then on his penultimate run at Galway was second. That was going right-handed, and then Listowel last time out was fourth there in the Kerry National. So I think he is just one that quite likes going left-handed. I mean, he ran over 3 miles last time out and just weak in there, but he was travelling quite nicely. He kind of got shuffled and bumped, kind of like 3 out, had to go the widest route of them all, but he was going quite well before clearly not staying the trip. So I think the step back to 2.5 shouldn't be a problem. He's quite a nice jumper. He can get into a rhythm, and if authorised art comes over, I think 20-1 is too big a price.
Yeah, definitely a Willie Mullins runner. You're not going to let that run at 20-1, are you? Look, I like the well supported Il Ridoto. That'd be my first selection. Freddie Gingle on board. Now, this horse was actually fourth in this race last year off a mark of 140. Now running off a mark of 144. Obviously, Harry Cobden was on last year. We've got Freddie Gingle taking off 7. Now, Freddie Gingle has been riding a strike rate of 33% at the time of recording. He's absolutely flying. Looks like the young jockey to really follow this season. He's a very talented jockey with a really impressive win at Wincanton as well at the weekend. I think this horse could go really well. I think this has been a bit of a plan to get this horse back here to be competitive once again. Obviously, Stage Star, another horse that's probably a lot better than these if you put them on level weights. But, you know, with the weight allowance that Il Ridoto has, I think this horse could put a massive run in with Freddie on board. Now, the other horse in here at a massive price, even bigger than yours, Jack, is a 33-1 shot in Black Jerry, who's actually for the Carry Moore yard. Finally, it begins. Black Jerry, this horse here, you can actually look at his form on Racing Post. Either includes a 1 or a P. So he's either pulled up or first. I mean, that probably sums him up pretty well. He actually goes well fresh, but he can either throw an absolute stink or he throws an absolute worldie of a run. You actually go back and look at his run back in April of this year. He put in a really decent display on good to soft ground at Ascot, beating lots of Frere Darms, Hatcher, Dolos. There were some good horses in the race that he won. Gary Moore does like to send a good one here. I'm pretty sure he sent Benatar here a few years back. He sent Naslam here last year, finished 6th. I've got a feeling this horse, although the Moore Yard aren't properly firing at the moment, there is going to come a time where they've got some nice horses and they are going to fire in plenty of winners. But I think this horse is far too overpriced. 33-1, Black Jerry, a horse that goes well fresh. Don't be surprised to see him hit the frame. So I'm going to go with Il Ridoto and Black Jerry. And Jack, you're happy to stick with authorised art of running here, is that right?
Yes, spot on.
There we go. So let's move on and away from Saturday and into Sunday, where we've got 2 races to look at here. One which is a graded chase and the other which is a handicap hurdle. And we start off with the 255 on Sunday, which is the Schlur Chase, a grade 2 over 2 miles, considered a trial for the Champion Chase, where John Bon is the 2-1 on favourite, Edwardstone 11-4. Here we go. Nube Negra is 7-1. Banbridge is 8-1. The legend that is Editor de Gite is 14-1. And Dancing on My Own is 25-1. Now, we're probably going to share opinions here, Jack, in some ways, in terms of the fact that it's obvious to say, but John Bon should just go and win this. But I can tell you now, I don't think he'll go, because this is Editor de Gite I'm going to talk about here. I don't think he's going to go here because of the fact that he ran at Exeter the other day, and they've actually done this before, and he was a non-runner at this meeting last year, in a different race, mind you. But if they think they've got this horse back and fit, 14 to 1 is a massive price. The only reason I say that is because if you look at his run last year, where he lost on his first start, but they held him up throughout the race, which isn't Edith style of running. Now, Niall did the exact same thing at Exeter, where he just gave him a nice run, eased him into his races, let him see a few fences, and yes, he was tailed off, but I've got a feeling this horse, when you see him again and whenever they run him again, he's going to go from the front and do what Edith usually does and gets into a really nice rhythm and makes it a bit of a test and kind of catch me if you can for some of these rivals. So if he were to go, I'm not letting him go off at 14 to 1 round Cheltenham, because we know how good and consistent he is round there. But look, Jack, John Bond's definitely the one to beat. Can you take him on?
Yes and no. I think he's definitely the one to beat, but I think you can make a case for Edwardstone as well. One thing for me in this race is you just got so many front runners or horses that can front run if they want to. I mean, looking at Jean Bon, he can be quite prominent. Nube Negra is obviously going to be weighted within the rear. Banbridge is usually quite prominent. Ed Stajit likes to go from the front, and Dancing from My Own was very prominent last time out when winning in October. So for me, I don't know if they do go a good clip, it could turn into a little bit of a staying contest. And if it does, I think probably Edwardstone might be able to pick up the pieces. I know he's what, 5 times the price of John Bon. He has a little bit to prove after his disappointing run in the Champion Chase, but it would all depend on the ground, really. He wants that ground just a little bit quicker than John Bon, I think. Of course, Nube Negra wants it rattling fast. I don't think he's going to get his ground whatsoever. Mind you, if it was good ground, I would actually fancy him for this, because in Skelton Yard usually have him primed for this. I know he only won a 3-runner event last year, but he did it so comfortably, beating Ganapathy, who's no mug. So no, John Bon should win. The race may pan out for Edwardstone. I'll definitely be leaving it alone and having a look to see how things pan out.
Yeah, I'll be leaving the race alone if Edith doesn't run, but if he runs, I think I'm going to be having a bit of that 14 to 1 from the front about him each way. Let's move on then to a race where there'll be plenty of each way selections for a lot of punters in the 3:30 at Cheltenham, which is the just over 2 miles. It's the Unibet Greatwood Handicap Hurdle, where only a matter of time, 4 to 1, Willie Mullins, Paul Byrne. Here we go. The jump season's well and truly here, with a horse like this being smashed in at the top of a handicap hurdle like this. Iberico Lord 7 to 1, Nemean Lion is 7 to 1, 9 to 1 about Knickerbocker Glory and Look Away. Lotus Sue is 10 to 1, 11 to 1 Gin Coco, and 12 to 1 and bigger about the rest of them. Now, I think we actually share opinions on this race, Jack, in terms of the Fergal O'Brien runner of Punctuation. I was quite impressed by the fact that they put this horse on the flat at York. Holly Doyle rode this horse and gave this horse an excellent ride on soft ground over this actual distance. Obviously, there were no hurdles at York, but I think that was a lovely fitness edge. I know exactly what they're doing here, getting this horse fit. But you can go and look at this horse's run at Aintree. This horse was really impressive in that handicap hurdle, beating horses who were actually in this race. But Blue King Daru's in here, kind of a similar price in the betting. Washington was in there. JPR1, who we spoke about earlier, was in there. Knickerbocker Glory was in there also in this race. Beat some good horses, and I think Fergal knows how to get a horse fit for this race. He loves having runners at Cheltenham. He loves having winners at Cheltenham. I have a feeling this has got a right old chance. Punctuation 14 to 1 isn't the worst each way price in the world.
Hey, a right old chance. Yeah, I completely agree. I think 14 to 1's a very good price indeed. You only need to go back a little bit further from that run in April as well, when he actually beat Too Friendly at Cheltenham by 3.5 lengths. Too Friendly's rated 140 now and finished second to Rubo in that listed race at Kempton, and Rubo's gone and won easily since. So look, as far as you want to go back through Punctuation's form, it just keeps getting franked time and time again. As you say, I mean, it was nice to see him win at York. I think the ground won't be an issue whatsoever. I think he's probably still actually well handicapped off a mark of 137. It seems like, A, early in the season, Fergal O'Brien really fires, and B, he knows how to get them prepped for one of these handicaps over the minimum trip. So Too Friendly's in there as well, but he has to burden £3 more. So I think Punctuation, as you said, 14 to 1, I think it's a cracking price. I mean, obviously you have to be scared of only a matter of time. He's had one win in his career, and that's when he actually finished second and then was awarded the race, and he's 4 to 1 there. I mean, if he was trained by just about anyone else, he'd probably be about a 250,000 to 1 shot, let alone a 4 to 1 shot. So look, I mean, he could come out and absolutely bolt up off a mark of 115, but I think punctuation's well placed there off a mark of 137 to really get involved.
Yeah, look, I mean, this favourite here was 8th in a maiden won by Marine Nationale, then won at Punchestown back in June. You've then got to look at this horse in terms of the fact that this horse off a mark of 105 was actually really well supported at Cork back in August. And this horse actually ran out. Now, the fact this horse was well supported obviously thought this horse was a pretty good thing that day as well. And now switches from Niall Madden to Willie Mullins for a first run for this stable. God knows what kind of improvement Willie Mullins can get out of this horse. This horse could be a stone well in, you know. This horse could be proper good, but it's one of those where you're going to get this plenty throughout the season, especially with Willie Mullins horses, more likely just Paul Byrne owned horses, but they are going to be well supported in these big handicap hurdles, and it's your choice whether you go and let them run and go and hack up, or you try and find something each way and hope that they flop. But it can happen, so you know, you just got to look at it. But my personal opinion is you try and take them on and find something each way within the betting. But Jack and I both in agreement, punctuation will win, full stop. Fair one there. We'll give it a full stop with a bit of punctuation. Any exclamation on that as well? I don't know. But 14-1 is a really fair price. I will be going with that, and so will Jack. Best bet of the weekend. You can go first while I load up the race that I'm going to be putting my best bet up.
Oh yeah, because yours is away from Cheltenham, isn't it? Goodness gracious. Now I'll get it done nice and early on the Friday. If Lieutenant Rocco goes to the cross country, I think he's way too big a price at 20-1.
Oh, okay, Lieutenant Rocco in the cross country. I really didn't.
It's 2023. We're nearly in 2024, and I'm lapping up Lieutenant Rocco.
I really didn't expect that. The horse that I'm going to be putting up this weekend runs in the 2:36 at Lingfield on the all-weather on Saturday, and it is in the Churchill Stakes, a listed contest there, over 10 furlongs, likes of Regal Reality, Blue Trail, Fox's Tales, Forest of Dean, Sir Busker, Torrent Vinci, they're all in here, and I really, really, really fancy Sir Busker at 8-1 here. I really fancy him. Now go back and look at this horse's form. He was actually third last year, you remember, to Baid in a Judgment International. He has some real talent. Now, he hasn't really shown it this season. You go back and look at his last couple of runs. 9th of 9 at Newmarket, 7th of 8 at Sandown. That was in a listed contest behind Chindit. But you then go and look at the runs in Maidan. And prior to these runs in Maidan and over in Dubai, he actually ran in a listed contest, the Tambridge Stakes at Lingfield back in February, where he was second to a horse called Manafif, who was a fairly good each way, fairly good all-weather horse, sorry. And Sir Busker, I think back on the all-weather, I think he has a right chance. There's no way he's an 8-1 shot against this lot. Regal Reality, can't remember when the last time this horse wanted to get his head in front. Blue Trail, completely out of form. Fox's Tales, I've never really liked that horse, to be totally honest. And Forest of Dean, he's actually an all-weather specialist who could go quite well here. But Sir Busker, I think 8-1 is a massive price with Jim Crowley on board here, who gets along with the horse so well. So that will be my nap of the weekend. I'm really strong on that. But I mean, this could run.
I was to say 2 weeks 2 years that we've done next gen. I don't think I've ever heard you as bullish about a horse as you are about.
I've set myself up for a massive fat. Actually, no, you heard me talking about Big Rock, so there's no way that you can. No way you can say that. But I think Sir Busker is a great bet this weekend. But you wait until you see this finish last of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last of 9. So we'll wait and see. So yeah, Jackson with Lieutenant Rocco in the cross-country chase on Friday, and I'll be Sir Busker in the Churchill Stakes at Lingfield on Saturday. I don't know when we're next back. Are we next back for the Tingle Creek?
I think we are.
I think that's the next one, aren't we? We're back for the Tingle Creek, where I'm actually going to that meeting. I'm looking forward to that. A few of the mates that Jack will know have been to the races with us at Goodwood. I think we've got a day plan there at the Tingle Creek. So hopefully, with the help of Jack and myself previewing the racing, we'll find plenty of winners for the day. Jack, what's Hong Kong got in store over the next few weeks prior to the Tingle Creek?
Well, this weekend we have Trials Day, so good old Wellington's going to be out. Lucky Swainess, California Spangle as well. So it's a great weekend ahead of us here, and it's not long until the RJC, the International Jockeys Championship. James McDonald is going to be over here for a 5-week stint as well, alongside the likes of Zach Burton, Tom Marquand, Holly Dole, Ryan Moore is even going to be over here as well before the international meeting, where we have an international taste at the international meeting. Hopefully we'll have a few good international horses come over for the 3 big races there. So it's all systems go out in Hong Kong, and looking forward to getting stuck into Cheltenham this weekend.
Absolutely. Am I going to see an improvement in your golf as well when you come back after seeing pictures of Cam Smith at a racecourse last week?
I'll tell you what, unfortunately not. I asked him for a few tips, but apparently I was uncoachable. That's how bad I was, is what he said. So, hey, we'll save that for next year, I suppose.
All right, I better brush up on my golf skills so I can be ready for when Jack returns. Well, there we go. That is it for this week's preview. Like I say, we're back for the Tingle Creek. Let us know down in the comments who your best bets are this weekend. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of that business. And we will see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.